I mean, conservative politicians have managed to get themselves embarrassed over and over and over again by associating themselves with this barely reconstituted, segregationist, racist, white supremacist group. And it's not like this group is trying to hide anything, right? It's not like they're reconstructed and now they make it look nice. I mean, this is from their statement of principles. Look at this. Quote, "We believe the United States is a European country. And that Americans are part of the European people. We oppose all efforts to mix the races of mankind, to promote non-white races over the European American people, and to force the integration of the races." I mean, that is what crawled out of the carcass of the group that Haley Barbour praised when he was going to run for president, but then it didn't work out. That's the Council of Conservative Citizens. Over this weekend, we learned that the shooter in Charleston, South Carolina last week got his ideas from this Council of Conservative Citizens. He credited them directly with inspiring his attempt to start a race war with this mass murder in a Charleston church. This group that had always been racist, that had always been part of the worst atavistic, barbaric impulses in the modern history of our nation, now in its new form, has those same ideas all over the blood of 9 African Americans in a church in the city of Charleston. And while the group insists today that they do not support violence, they have also, since the shooting, stood up for the ideas that the shooter says filled his head. They stood up for the content of his message. So not for what he did, but yes, for why he says he did it. So that was one thing that we learned this week. While the nation and the city of Charleston mourned those 9 murder victims, we learned that the Council of Conservative Citizens was part of this story. The other thing we learned is that Republican politicians, including some who are running for president now, have been taking money, a lot of money, from that racist group. John Swain of The Guardian newspaper reporting this weekend that the group's leader has given tens of thousands of dollars of campaign contributions in support of Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and Rick Santorum and Scott Walker and Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton and on and on and on. And most of them reacted to that news today, reacted to that reported link to the inspiration for the Charleston massacre, right? Most of these politicians reacted to that news today like they've just been handed a live cottonmouth snake. One by one, they have started giving the money back or giving it to charity, in many cases, giving the money to a charity benefiting the families left behind in Charleston. In addition to what you see here, we can also tell you tonight that Steve King, Iowa Congressman Steve King, tells us he's sending back what he got to Charleston, and so is Louis Gohmert. And according to the Washington Post, so are Jeff Flake and Tom Cotton. As we hear back from more people who have taken donations from the Council on Conservative Citizens, we'll let you know. But we can tell you clearly that where Republicans have stood by and for, and in some cases with, this racist group in the very recent past, after those murders in that Charleston church, now, as of today, they're not standing by that group anymore. After decades, right? I mean, that group was founded right after Brown v. Board. Everybody knew who they were, and over and over and over again, for decades, conservative politicians still allied themselves with that group. Even though everybody knew who they were, they've never hidden their light under a bushel. They've been an overtly racist group with ties to the terror that was the backlash against the civil rights movement in this country.